Are you ready to go meatless? We are. Hey guys, my name is Vanessa and my oldest daughter, Paige, is not eating meat right now. She informed us that she is going to try going the vegetarian route. So I'm trying to come up with different recipes that we would all enjoy together. Just a few dinner ideas that do not have any meat in them. So I have made two the past 2 weeks and I filmed exactly how I made them and I'm gonna share them with you. Now the first one is in my kitchen and it is my favorite over between the two. The first one is my favorite. And the second one, I actually had to go to my parents' house because our oven is kaput. It is no longer working. It is very old and it caught on fire. Now nobody was hurt. The fire did not leave the oven. I was able to turn it off. The fire went away, all of that good stuff, but we do not have an oven at the moment. So I have to get real thrifty and decide from here on out what we're gonna do in our house. And I know I can always go to my parents and use their oven. So the second recipe is in a different location and the kitchen looks completely different. So let's jump right into these. Here is everything. Now I am gonna have the recipe that I found linked below, but I wanted to just use mainly things that I already had on hand. I didn't wanna buy a whole bunch of new stuff. So, and there's some things that I know Paige doesn't enjoy. So what I'm doing isn't exact to this recipe, but this is all the ingredients that I'm going to use and I'll show you as we mix them and pretty much follow the directions as close as possible. But first things first, we need to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. So I'm going to get that started. And then I have already greased my 9x13 baking dish. And this is just what I have. So that's what I used to spray my baking dish down. And now we're gonna cook the quinoa. So I'm only going to use 1 cup of this. It does say in the recipe to rinse the quinoa. So I'm going to rinse it. And I'm going to add this and 2 cups of water to a medium saucepan and we're gonna bring that to a boil. And it says to simmer it for 15 minutes. So basically just cook your quinoa and then we'll move on to the rest of the recipe. All right, so my quinoa was boiling. I turned it down on low and I have it simmering for 15 minutes. It's already starting to count down. I went ahead and chopped my red bell pepper, 1 whole one, and then a small onion. I chopped both of those. I am going to put the onion and 1 tablespoon of olive oil in my little skillet here or pan, whatever you wanna cook on. This is just what I happen to pull down. And I am going to cook the onion until it is translucent. All right, my onions are super soft and tender. Now I'm going to add 1 cup of frozen corn. And then I am going to add in my 1 chopped bell pepper and I'm gonna cook it for about 3 minutes. All right, 3 minutes is up and the quinoa is done. So I did turn my burner off. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off the heat. And now I'm going to continue with this. So in here, I have 1 teaspoon of cumin and 1 tablespoon of chili powder. So I'm gonna add that in. You can salt and pepper to taste. So I'm just gonna put a little salt and pepper. I only put a little bit in when I'm cooking because I like to just have the salt and pepper on my table and let my family season theirs how they like. Because since I do have little kids, they're not super into like really spicy things. So pepper can get really, you know, spicy quick. So I only add a little bit in up front and then we just add more after all is said and done, depending on each of our individual taste buds. So I'm gonna mix this up really good. And now I'm going to add a little bit of lime juice. I always have lemon and lime juice in the fridge. If you have fresh limes, obviously that would be perfect. So I'm just gonna do a few squirts. Look at all that steam. Now I'm just going to mix it all in again. All right, now I have a bowl and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix all of my ingredients together before I get them in my pan. So I've got my quinoa, I'm gonna put that in the bowl. I'm going to get my vegetables that I just kind of sauteed into the bowl. Also, I'm going to be adding 1 can of mild diced tomatoes with green chilies. This is Rotel, just an off-brand. And then I'm also gonna add this small 8-ounce can of tomato sauce and 1 cup of shredded cheese. I am using this shredded quesadilla cheese. You could use any kind. You could use cheddar, a Mexican blend, any kind of cheese that you like. I am just using this. So I'm gonna get all of these ingredients into my bowl. And I almost forgot black beans. I love black beans. So this is 2 cans that I did rinse and drain, or drain and rinse. I guess that's the correct sequence of events. And now I'm just gonna mix it all together. I might have misjudged the size of bowl I needed. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to mix all the ingredients together as best I can without having to get another bowl. And then once we have all this stuff mixed together, we are going to transfer it into our already sprayed down, greased 9x13 pan. All right, I've got my quinoa mixture all spread out in my casserole dish, and now I'm going to cover it with foil. Once you've got it covered in foil, put it in your oven, and we are going to bake it for 20 minutes. All right, so 20 minutes is up. I took it out of the oven, took the foil off, and now we are going to add more cheese. I never ever measure when I'm putting cheese on top of something. I just kind of sprinkle it on top, and I mean, every dish, it's just better with cheese, right guys? So just add what you want on the top. If you don't want any extra cheese, then it is done and you are set to go. But like I said, we love cheese, so I'm going to just cover the top with cheese and get it back in the oven for 10 minutes at the same temp, 350 degrees. And 10 minutes later, your quinoa bake is done. This is really good. I took a little bite, now it is still super hot, so I might have burned my tongue a little bit, but I really like the flavors that I've got going on in here. I will definitely add a little bit more salt and pepper to mine once I get myself a serving, but I think this is gonna be perfect for my younger kiddos. All right, let's make some kale lasagna. So I have 9 pieces of lasagna boiling in some very hot water. And then over here, you're going to use 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm using a very generous 1 teaspoon of minced garlic because we really like the garlic flavor. So I'm just heating this up a little bit. It's already starting to turn brown. So now I'm going to add 1 bunch of kale, which I've already taken the stems off and I just roughly chopped. So all of this kale is not going to fit into the skillet at one time. So I'm just going to do like a handful at a time. It is going to wilt and break down and get smaller. So once this handful does that, I will add some more. My oven just beeped. It is set to 375 degrees. About 10 minutes later, that is that huge bunch of kale. See how small it wilted down to? So my kale is done, my noodles are done. Now I'm going to make my mixture. So right here, I went ahead and got out this ricotta cheese. It is 15 ounces. So I'm gonna add the kale to this bowl, mix that up. I'm also going to add in 1 egg and then some salt and pepper to taste. All right, so that is everything mixed together with the ricotta and the kale, salt and pepper, the egg. And then in this bowl, you could use spaghetti sauce, marinara sauce, whatever is easiest. I just already had this can of organic sauce, just plain old tomato sauce. It says with natural sea salt. And then I have this Italian seasoning. So all I did, I kind of just created my own quick marinara sauce. I used that can and I poured in probably 1.5 tablespoons of this seasoning, this Italian seasoning, and that's what I'm going to use as my spaghetti sauce. So now we are going to start layering everything into our little pan here. Okay, so for the layers, first you're going to go ahead and just get a little thin layer of your sauce at the bottom of your pan. And this layer just helps the noodles not stick to the bottom. So now I am using a smaller pan, so my noodles are gonna kind of stick up, but 9 by 13 is the best size. I'm just, again, using what I've got on hand. So I'm gonna layer 3 noodles lengthwise right here on the bottom. All right, next layer is the ricotta kale mixture. You're going to get probably about 1/3 of the entire mixture and spread that out all over the noodles as best as you can. And then you're just gonna take some shredded mozzarella cheese and sprinkle that on top of the ricotta mixture. Then you're going to put a little bit of sauce on top of that. Starts the whole layering over again. So you're gonna do it 2 more times. On top of this sauce, you're going to do the noodles and then the ricotta mixture, the shredded mozzarella cheese, and then the sauce again. And then I'll show you how to top it off. Okay, this is not the prettiest thing, but I'm not in my kitchen. I'm a little out of my element. So all I did was I topped it with the remaining little bit of sauce and the shredded mozzarella cheese. So now I am going to get it in the oven. All right, so my oven is preheated to 375 degrees and I am going to cook it for 25 minutes. Lasagna is done. I went ahead and took some out just so you could see how everything cooked on the inside. And my daughter is going to be very excited because she loves lasagna, but now she wants to try some with no meat. All right, so those recipes, my oldest absolutely loved both of them. She actually went back for seconds right away for the lasagna, so that's awesome to know. However, I think if I ever make the lasagna again, I will either put the kale and the ricotta together into a blender and really just blend those flavors together, or just cut up the kale a lot more smaller. I felt like the pieces were just a little bit too big, even after roughly chopping them and sauteing them and all of that. They were just too big and I didn't like the chunks eating it with the lasagna. So that's just my tip, but my daughter, who I was making it for in the long run, she enjoyed it as is, so that's awesome. If you guys love getting new recipes to try at home, give this video a big thumbs up. I share a lot of that on my channel. If you are new, hit that subscribe button and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.